As many of you know, I am 8 days out from being ordained as a rabbi. And so, thank you. So I couldn't help but notice that our Torah portion opens on the 8th and final day of the Kohanim's ordination rituals. At long last, Aaron and his 4 sons do their final purification and begin their work as priests. Aaron lifts his hands and blesses the people. A midrash teaches that this was the first invocation of the priestly benediction. All of the people witness the divine presence. Then God's blazing fire consumes the offerings on the altar. So far, a pretty successful first day on the job. But then, Nadav and Abihu, 2 of the newly ordained Kohanim, put fire and incense in their fire pans. And we read, Vayakrivu lifnei Adonai eish sarah asher lo tziva otam. They offered eish sarah before God, which God had not commanded them. Eish sarah, literally strange fire. We don't know exactly what this strange fire is, but it must be bad, because in the next verse, Vatetse eish milifnei Adonai, v'tochal otam, vayamutu lifnei Adonai. Fire came out from before God and consumed them. They died before God. I don't believe that God struck Nadav and Abihu dead as punishment. If a child sticks his hand in an electrical socket, the shock is not punishment, but cause and effect of the natural world. At least that's my theology. Strange fire laid on the altar will spark deadly divine fire like an electrical shock. Thus, Nadav and Abihu die lifnei Adonai, before God, but not at the hand of God. I imagine that God was horrified to watch the divine fire kill these young men in their first hours as Kohanim. From this tragedy, Israel learns, and maybe God does too, that the tabernacle surges with barely restrained power and is exquisitely sensitive. Those who enter God's dwelling place must move with extreme caution. I'm not afraid I'll be zapped by divine fire if I mess up on my first day as a rabbi. But this story illustrates, in the sometimes exaggerated way of biblical narrative, the truth that we are vulnerable when we step into a new role. We don't know what mistakes to avoid. I want to steer clear of strange fire, but honestly, I'm not even sure what strange fire is, let alone how to avoid it. Maybe our new role comes with accreditation or a title like rabbi or registered nurse, mom or dad, police officer, director, team captain, or board member. Or maybe the role is less formal, but nonetheless significant. Joining a new religion, or stepping up to look after a loved one unable to care for him or herself. Maybe it's a role that you've spent years training or praying for, or maybe it's a position that you never wanted and accept with trepidation, grief, or resentment. We are unlikely to understand all of the dimensions and challenges of a job until we begin it. Even if we've done the basic work before, our duties and their roles are unique and ever-changing. We accept responsibility before we can know its true weight. We do so because, along with the vulnerability, there is reward that accompanies responsibility, joy and pride, purpose and respect. And also, responsibility comes with potential for error, mistakes that could harm our egos, careers, or bodies, or hurt the people to whom we are responsible. So the story of Nadav and Abihu cries out to me this year, don't get experimental with strange fire on day 1 of your new role. have some humility, learn how the tabernacle works first, ask lots of questions, try not to break things. As anyone who has attempted a home improvement project knows, it is much easier to break than to build. And that's especially true if you are new to the work of building. We ought not swing chainsaws and demolish fences until we understand why they were built and what will replace them. Of course, we sometimes need to innovate. We need to think creatively to fix the brokenness of our world, realize the possibilities of scientific advancement, and alleviate poverty and suffering. We ought to approach the sacred work of innovation with both courage and care, being brave when boldness is called for, while not venerating disruption for its own sake. As Reformed Jews, we understand the tension between tradition and innovation. As religious people, we affirm that tradition has value and our ancestors held real wisdom. And as reformers, we also understand that tradition must adapt to fit alongside today's world, that we cannot petrify a living religion. One piece of evidence that we are not the first Jews to navigate this tension is the existence of takanot. A takana in the halachic system is a piece of rabbinic legislation that revises an ordinance that no longer works for the community. You can hear the same root in takana, literally a correction or a fix, as in the well-known phrase tikkun olam, takana tikkun. Takanot are powerful legal tools that the rabbis wield sparingly. Famous examples include Rabbeinu Gershom's ban on polygamy in the 11th century and Hillel's institution of the Prose Bowl, a mechanism that protects lenders from debt remission in the 2nd century CE. The process of enacting takanot begins with careful analysis of the community's problems. Takanot thus respect both the authority of halachic scholars and the authority of communal practice. Contrast the deliberateness of the takanot legislative process against the ethos of creative disruption Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg used to champion. In 2009, Zuckerberg shared that his internal company motto was "Move fast and break things." But in 2014, Zuckerberg announced a change. His motto was now, "Move fast with stable infrastructure," which is less catchy perhaps, but the attitude of a more experienced leader. So this Shabbat, I'm left musing about stable infrastructure and strange fire. May we uphold and strengthen the former and avoid the latter, following the model of our sacred tradition. Deliberate, informed changes, made always in partnership with the people that we serve. Shabbat Shalom.